you can use options, but I'm going to go over the options technique because that's the sort of way we do that particular trade, but you can choose to trade shares, no problem. So I'm talking about DocuSign and Zscaler. By the way, I made a lot of money on this same exact trade on Zscaler 2 years ago on one earnings report. Doesn't mean it'll happen again, but maybe it will. Okay, we're live there, and we're going to go live on TikTok now as well. And I want to disable that. Internet, what, Camille, internet problems for you, or is it everybody? Everybody, am I getting glitchiness or something? Am I being glitchy? Been having problems the past few days. Missed class yesterday too. No, it's your internet? Okay. Because no, I also was having some internet problems. Camille, maybe we're on the same backbone. Are you in the South? Maybe, you know, if you're anywhere from South Carolina all the way to Texas, maybe Tennessee, Alabama, maybe you're on the same backbone. Yeah, I've been having funny internet. Okay, guys, we got just 4 minutes to go over this trade. So this trade technique. So over on Zscaler and DocuSign, they had popped in pre-market due to good ER. And at the open, there's likely to be some profit taking, or it could just start running. In my wisdom, you know, I feel like it's really hard not to, but in my wisdom, this trade only really works. You get the most money out of this trade only in the scenario in where there's a dip that occurs in the first 30 minutes of trading. And it's really tough to watch, say, Zscaler or DocuSign just start to fucking run. But that's why we're going to have a backup entry. Okay, ready? So here's the two ways that we're going to play DocuSign and ZS. However, I'm going to go over the backup plan first because that's the one you can act on more right away. Okay, but you know, be careful with your pattern day trading rules and your day trades. Don't burn it so much that you won't be able to play the mega dip buy trade, because that one could be the most lucrative one. Could be. Okay. So with regards to DocuSign and Zscaler, the backup plan is to enter on a break of the pre-market high. That would be a trigger entry long. And that could eventually be something that you don't even sell, that you hold into the close today to turn into a swing trade. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. Same thing with the mega dip buy trade. If there's any particular special better pivot point in which that should trigger, I'll let you know. We're going to take a look at that in just a moment. DOCU, I think, is a little more liquid. Okay, but it is failing VWAP. Doesn't really matter as a day trade, sure, but this would be like ER day one follow through trade, and the entry would be if it breaks pre-market high or pre-market pivot. In this case, on DocuSign, that is just below $67. If you can get near $67, then you would go ahead and take it for long. If that goes against you, you're going to have to cut. So write these down. 67 for entry, and that will be for $2 of risk, and you'll have to cut at a breakdown of 65.50 on DOCU. Here's the numbers on the other one. Zscaler. We're looking for it to break 177. Let me see if that is correct. 178.50. 178.50 would go long, okay? And then you'd cut out if it breaks. I'm getting a 175. Let me double check over here. 175. Okay, you got those numbers? Write them down. That's $3 of risk. Okay, so you've got your risk. You've got, and this is the backup trade. So you write those down. You can do that with at the money options or with shares. Okay, either way, nearest expiration, by the way. Now, mega dip buy trade, similar at the money and nearest expiration options is the sort of traditional way to play this mega dip buy trade, or you can use stock shares. That's fine. And for that, we will wait for a 5-minute green over red trigger after a dip in the first at least 15 minutes. Sometimes it can be the first 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and then we'll see it turn around. So we have two ways to trade it. And then also, Chris is interested probably in the short. There's a short possibility on the whole thing where it fails out. So if either of these fail, those numbers where it would stop out, that's where you could go short also. So there's a third backup way to trade these. ER reaction plays are the absolute best way to play ER instead of lotteries. Wait for the day after, wait for these types of things to happen, and you have, as you can see, at least 3 setups, if not more, on how to play them. Here we go. Market's opening in just a few seconds. Here we go. Okay, we're looking for the break of 178.50 on Zscaler to go long, or we're just going to wait for a dip. And over on DOCU is selling off at the open, so that's starting to set up for the mega dip buy trade, and we have to give that some minutes. And it's starting to get bought up now as well, DOCU. Zscaler is starting to move towards that backup plan entry. Is there anything you can use to practice trading? Totally. Quite a few tools. Okay, we need to stay on top of this trade though, but send me a private message and I'll give you some of them. One of them is called Trading Sim. Another one would be TradeStation. Another one, Think or Swim from TD Ameritrade. Another one's Webull. But I think Trading Sim would be possibly the best. All right, Zscaler is pulling back. That's a short on Zscaler at the moment for a little day trade. So that's the third way you can play these. Short on Zscaler. Might not work out. Might turn out to be some of the other stuff that's going on. DocuSign starting to come up. We're looking for it to break that pivot of, what did I say, guys? 67, I think I said. 60, just beneath 67, I believe I said. I'm seeing like 66.70. If you can break 66.70, that's the backup plan B. And so we can see if that can trigger to the upside. Otherwise, it'll start to form that dip, the dip zone. What else we got? We got day trades moving around here. IFBD showing some strength at the open. IFBD for a day trade. MOGU just broke pre-market high. MOGU is a high frequency day trade. MOGU. PIXY, if it can get over 36, could go really ballistic. That could be a really good trade on PIXY. You'd want to get in for about $4 a risk if it breaks 36. Coop, day 3 follow through. We're already in that trade. Day 1, day 2 follow through yesterday. And today, Coop now up another 3%. Coop, COUP, that's a swing trade. ISEE is starting to come up. If it can break 1950, well, really like 19. If it can get over 19, it has some blue sky potential. ISEE. Now, looking back on Zscaler, it is holding the open. It did not break that 178 level we talked about, 178.50. So that plan B has not gone into effect yet, and neither has plan A, which is the mega dip buy trade. Mega dip buy trade can take 15 minutes to 45 minutes to get an entry. DocuSign, what situation is it in? This is good. We love to see things pulling back. Both DocuSign and Zscaler still have plan A on the table, and that's the most profitable plan. Alta is moving. Let's see. No, not much movement on Alta. ISEE is got some good momentum going for it. It just broke pre-market high, not yesterday's after-hour high, but pre-market high, and that's an interesting signal with an entry now and stop at 18. Guarantee you that is the exact numbers that RJ used, and he's already in for half position right now at this point. I guarantee you, I would bet $40 on it. Is that right? Right, RJ? He said, "Yep." Is that an old yep? Uh, yeah, and I bet he's in for half position at 1850 with a stop at 18, and he's going to be taking profits underneath every half level, and he maybe even he didn't get one yet. He's down. He's down. That is how we trade. That is the techniques. I mean, RJ is such a great example of learning the right techniques and trading properly. And after so many years, or however long it's been, RJ would probably be the first to start to tell you just now, starting to realize last few months probably, and start to tell you that it's the trade that makes you money. It's the ticker. It's the stock that makes you the money. All you have to do is follow the strategy. You can't make something make money for you. That something's going to be a big winner isn't up to you. And that, I think it probably took him time to realize that. He's probably like, why the fuck can't I, make this shit work? 7 out of the last 8 trades. And it's because that's just how it goes sometimes. And it's just every now and then you get that one trade which forms the right way. And it's like, you have this incredible sailing ship which never gets the wind. And then finally the wind just, it's like, and it's full sail, and it makes up for, you get 20R, 40R, 50R, and it makes up for everything. And in the meantime, your system is grinding out small losses, small gains, occasional wins, but you really are only looking forward to the 2, 3, 4 big wins per year. That's really what it's all about. That's why you show up every day. And you can't blow up. You can't blow up your account. You have to be very disciplined. And RJ is a good example of making that kind of a plan and that system work for you. Let's go back to Zscaler. Zscaler is starting to hit that breakout point, 178.40. It's at it. That's the Plan B breakout entry. Plan B backup entry. Boom. There it is. So Zscaler might potentially run all day from here. And for that, you would do a day swing. Plan B is a day swing with a stop at 173, $5 of risk for entry on Zscaler ZS. Plan B in effect. DocuSign still pulling back. That's great. That's what we want to see. That was not a traditional short right there, especially the way Chris plays it, with it hitting resistance first. But that is certainly a breakdown gap fill on ER, which you can get a little bit of juice out of. ZS, I think, triggered to the downside. Remember, that trade's over. Short on ZS is over. It is now off and running to the upside. It's now up $1.50 from entry, Zscaler. And off and running. So that short trade is kicked out, and you're now long on Zscaler. And back to DOCU. And DOCU is a short at the moment. And we're waiting for Plan A, the mega dip buy trade, to trigger. The potential on DOCU is there. And there goes Zscaler, almost to 180 now. The Plan B entry in effect. Nice high volume. And your stop should currently be set to 173 on Zscaler. ISEE starting to follow through. Okay, let's take a look. ISEE is a penny stock trade we alerted yesterday. Yes, ISEE now up and over 19, which is nearly yesterday's pre-market after hours high. You can now start to be taking profits on ISEE using the laddering technique on our penny stock alert if you took it yesterday at the close of market to get into ISEE, ISEE. So now below every 50-cent level, you would take 5 to 20% profits. I don't remember the risk on IC, but I think it wasn't too big. It was like $2. So RJ might be sitting on a pretty decent position on IC. Worthwhile. But, overnight risk can be a huge. Yeah, risk was only $2. That's really nice. So I don't know what RJ's account's like, but maybe he has 50 shares or so. All right, IC's at 1920. It's just underneath 1950. You could be taking profits on that. Zscaler just broke 180. Well, on TradingView it doesn't show that, but over on Thinkorswim it says 180. Now that's a day swing, so you're going to keep holding that right now. 173 is your stop on Zscaler. It could just run all day. ZS. Somebody asks, where do I even start to learn about these things? You're in luck. I also teach. So you want to go to my website, which is in my bio. Okay, e3tradinggroup.com, and then you can click Learn to Trade. You can click the button Learn to Trade, and that'll take you over to Market Mastery. All right, back to Zscaler here. Zscaler putting in a nice pattern. Looks like it's going to break 180. The market itself, let's check in on the market. What's going on there? Choppy open after appreciating a lot overnight. But a decent open. Let's take a look at that on the daily and see how that sits in the whole trend of things. Nice open, up and over 4 days ago's high, blasting over 2 prior highs today. Well, 1, because yesterday it already blasted over this other one here. So it broke 1 previous high already, the market right at the open, and we're looking for the market to go up just a smidge more to break another high. We seem to be crawling out from under this 3-week pullback. Let's take a look at DocuSign and see if we've got a trigger yet over there. Nope, no trigger yet for the mega dip buy trade. I see now where 1911, 1912, struggling to make progress, but adhere to the trading strategy, and you'll get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. The Zscaler now hitting 179.867. It's just sitting there right about to break 180, putting in very nice pattern. We did have a slight fail to retest. It depends on how defensive you want to be in your position. I think if the market is still green, I wouldn't resort to failed neckline breakdowns on this kind of a play. I would just take the day swing and use the day swing technique. And for that, your stop still is currently 173. When we re-break the high, the stop's going to move all the way up to 100. And there it is. We broke the high on Zscaler. Your stop now can move all the way up to, I would put it at 178. Okay, and now we're hitting 180, 180.8. So Zscaler following through on the Plan B entry. DocuSign putting in some bounce signature at the bottom. Let's take a look if we've got an entry. No, we do not. We do not have a entry. We used the 5-minute candles for entry. And we do not have entry on DocuSign yet. Not yet. Oh, thanks. Yeah, someone says, sorry, I'm new, but when are you going to buy for DocuSign? We're looking for green over red 5-minute candle, and that hasn't happened yet. Zscaler just broke 181. It's hit 181.3. It's pulled back to 180.78. Your stop is at 178 on Zscaler using the day swinging pivot point path technique, the path of victory. I love the smell of profits in the morning. It smells like victory. About 5% of you just got that joke. Because you come from a different era, because you're born in a different era. Like Carl got it. Carl and I get it. Especially on a Friday. And RJ didn't get it at all. Oh god. Let's pull it up on YouTube. But I like that he's in the right spirit, and he's like, I'm going to add something to that. I don't care if I don't even know. Let's see.
Smells like.
Okay, no. Come on. Which of these shows have you seen online video advertising for recently? Octonauts probably, because my daughter watches that.
Smell that? You smell that? Napalm, son. Nothing else in the world smells like that. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. You know, one time we had a hail bomb for 12 hours when it was all over. I woke up. We didn't find one of them, not one stinking big body. Smell! You know that gasoline smell? The whole hill. Smells like victory. Someday this war's gonna...
Yeah, fucking great movie. Carl, come on. Fucking greatest movie of all time. That's my number one favorite movie of all time, by the way. If you want to know a lot about me, Apocalypse Now, motherfuckers. Greatest movie ever made. RVNC starting to move up and over some significant levels. RVNC, a lot of people have been trying to stalk that one. RVNC. Robert Duvall, that is correct. Top 5 for sure, says Carl. Yeah, I have the similar thing where they move back and forth. I mean, yeah. ISEE now hit 19.7. Hi. And that seen it 10 times. Oh, dude. Whoa, but Carl, let's see if you can beat this. Did you ever see it in 70 millimeter? I've seen it in 70 millimeter projection. Yes, sir. Oh my God, was that incredible. By the way, with the cinematographer in Q&A after the show. The fucking Heart of Darkness cinematographer. Wow. That was incredible. Yeah. I don't know why Francis Ford Coppola couldn't show up. I went to several colleges, and one of them was Cal State University Long Beach, and that is Steven Spielberg's school. So they have a pretty big film department, and used to watch a lot of. I saw Blade Runner in 70 millimeter. They had the last remaining print on Blade Runner, the last remaining 70 millimeter print, and they're showing it, and it's on this, I forget what they call it, polyester film or something, a special kind of film. And we're showing it, and it's the last. You guys who, I'm sorry if it's a spoiler, but it's the ending scene. You guys who've seen in Blade Runner know, so the android extends his hand to help the police officer off of the roof, right? Remember this? Okay. And right at that moment, it's raining, it's the climactic scene, you know what I'm talking about? Right at that moment, it's the last remaining 70 millimeter print in existence. Right at that moment, he's extending his hand, right? And then all of a sudden, white melting. The fucking last remaining 70 millimeter print melted at the most important part of it. And everyone was like, oh, like the theater, the lights turn on, and we're like, oh my God. And they're like, we're sorry, folks, we'll have to take a quick 30-minute break. And when they came back, obviously, they had to start it later, and we had to miss that part. Tragic. Tragic. No, we're not missing the documentary. Still not yet, guys. We need it to get over the prior high of the prior candle. How is Z-Scaler doing? Z-Scaler, you're still in the trade. The current stop is 178. 178 current stop on Z-Scaler, ZS. And that would probably be slightly profitable for you if it hits. but follow the path of victory. ISEE now hitting 20.28. Yeah, man. Yeah, hard to top. You know, movies were just better back then. I saw a pretty good movie recently, which was kind of like a Lifetime movie practically. It wasn't really edgy or anything, but it was pretty damn good. It was based on this book of the same title called Where the Crawdads Sing. Pretty good movie. I wish they made more movies like that these days. Kind of courtroom murder mystery set in a marshland countryside. If you guys have read some of you might have read the book because it was a #1 bestseller for 160 weeks in a row or some shit like that. All right, so anyway, let's get back to DocuSign because soon it could trigger, but you know, until it triggers, it hasn't triggered. Funny how that works. God, I just saw RVNC hit 26.9, which was not that big of a deal, but I thought it was ISEE. I'm like, whoa, what? No. ISEE is sitting at 19.92, pulling back a little bit after hitting 20.27. We are in ISEE since yesterday. It's an overnight penny stock trade that was alerted, looking good. We also alerted PXS. I don't know if that followed through today. I don't know. And then also some of the other penny stocks. APRN and Vero. Nah, it looks like APRN didn't want to follow through. Same with Vero. You would have been out of all those, but the one you would have been in, the one you would still be in and taking profits on is ISEE. Now, DMS is starting to come up over VWAP. That's one that we're watching, DMS. And MOGU. We definitely want to be watching MOGU. That's like the #1 stock of the day. MOGU, but it doesn't look like it's happening. If it's going to do something, it's going to be at this. It's going to have to break $3, I would say, at this point. If I don't see 301 on MOGU, I'm not interested. All right, DocuSign entry. There's the entry on DocuSign. Docu, you got entry. Entry now for risk to stop at 62.40. 62.40 is your stop. Entry's at 63.60. It's going now. It's going. 63.60. So we're talking about $1.20 of risk on Docu. Yeah, exactly what you're thinking. And you said, although I would prefer it if it wasn't trying to smack up against the $3 price. The way it's trading, I would need to see it that, you know, it's just, the momentum's not, it's not breaking pivots and taking names, you know, it's fucking around too much. So yeah, exactly. I'm glad you see that, RJ. Yep. You are on the ball now. Nowadays. Was that an insult or a compliment? You are on the ball now. He had to throw in now. It is Friday, a low volume day, and the market looks like it wants to go. It does want to go to the upside, but it is kind of grinding it out really slowly. S&P 500 sideways, the Dow down, and growth stocks, the Qs up. So that's why we're getting like sideways from the SPY. So we're getting mixed signals. Today's we're not going to see a general move today, which means the market won't generally move today. Instead, it'll be a bit of rotation. So that's what we're seeing the signs of. We're getting conflicting movement from the different markets. And so that's a bit rotationary, and it does signal that we will not have follow through today. So that could inhibit our Z-scalar trade and the Docu trade, because it works best when the wind is in our sails and on our side. So anyway, we are in Docu now on the dip, and it is not necessarily a foregone conclusion that it's going to follow through based on what I just said about the market. But your stop would be at 62.40 on Docu, and over on Z-scalar, your stop is still 178. We can kind of move it up soon, but we'd like to see it make a little more progress. I'll be right back. Gonna get some water. It's an interesting Friday on the market. Let's see how DOCU's doing. Okay, DOCU's trying to make good on that entry, but it looks like it's going to end up failing out. All right. Stop again is at 62.40 on DOCU. ZS 178, and ZS is already at in the mid 182s. So that's great. ISEE has hit almost 21, hit 20.98. By the way, who's in ISEE, ISEE, either today for a day trade, or did anybody get in on the alert yesterday on ISEE at the end of the market? And don't lie. If you were in ISEE yesterday, kept it overnight, that is not getting in on my alert. I'm just curious who took my alert yesterday at the end of the market. That's a different truthful answer. And very good, very good. So Adam, what do you think, bro? All right, ISEE hitting 21 underneath now, all every dollar level, not every 50-cent level. Now that ISEE is over $20, you take some profits underneath every dollar level. Correct, RJ? He's going to say correct. I mean, I know this guy like the back of, oh, he said yes, sir. Damn it. I still don't know him perfectly then. There's some skeletons in that closet, I think. If I had him pegged, he would have said correct. But I don't. RJ still has some mystery left. At a poker table, I could read him 9 out of 10 times, but 1 out of 10 times he's dangerous. On IC, it's ISEE, by the way, and TNK on yesterday alerts. Okay, great. Oh, great. And did TNK follow through? I didn't even check. Wow, very nice follow through on TNK. I mean, not huge, but it's good to have follow through, right? Nice. Excellent. Steven's in IC, and so is Adam, and so is RJ. So I know at least you guys are the ones that are speaking up. Several of you got into the IC trade. That's awesome. Randy clarifies, I was in yesterday at 17. Like, we know that for sure. I mean, not about you, but that yesterday IC was a day trade, and it was nice. It behaved nicely. He said, and then he sold a good portion in after hours after the pop to 19. Very nice. Held a little and averaged up this morning after the break of it. Wow. Wow. Like, you have no idea how proud I am of RJ. He's now using, I think, at least two other strategies in combination with our main strategy and the day trading strategy, is mixing it all up and making great moves. Really, really good. He's hit a mature level with his trading. I think he's maybe, I almost could graduate him from the intermediate level, but I think he would say, no, not yet. He ain't an expert yet. But I'm telling you, RJ, you're making really good decisions, and that just goes to show, I mean, I think that probably he graduates year 2 on that. Based on that information, he's graduated year 2 of training. AFIA, SQM looking pretty good. How much does this stop? 114. 102. Yeah, that's not going to work out. Going back to DOCU, let's see if we got kicked out of that trade yet. We probably did. That's my guess. No, not yet, but it sure is getting close. 62.40 would be the stop. It looks like it's going to be failing out on us. Going back to Zscaler. Zscaler continuing to run. It has now hit 183, 184. All right, and we may have a new pivot stop. Let's go take a look. Currently, no, 178 or roughly 9, somewhere in there, 178 is your current stop. Let me see if I can get a little bit more accurate information on that stop. Boy, what a beautiful run, right? And this is exactly why the path of victory, day swinging, was invented. Did RJ start with a small trading capital? Absolutely, yes, he did. I think really small. Yes. I thought I recognized that. SMB Capital, nice. Biggest tip is every day I create a daily report card and grade my performance on each trade. Very nice. And that's his biggest tip. So that should tell you a lot about how important it is to do what's called post-analysis and to look back at your trades, winners and losers, and study them. I think one of the best ways you can do that, RJ and everybody, is take a screenshot of the entire chart for the day and mark up your entries and your exits. And then forever have that. Put that in a folder in your computer. You can, because just the act of doing that gets your brain into looking at those patterns, why you got in. You don't even have to over analyze it too much. It's just doing it again. It's just the neurons connect on those patterns and get fortified and create those pathways. And then you just file it away. And then at a later date, you can always go back and look through things. And in fact, you might be able to duplicate those and put them into different folders, because some of them might be several different styles of trading. And you can name those folders the style of the trade that you took. Sometimes it's more than one. And that's why I say you can duplicate that file and put it into other folders. So you'll have a folder filled with examples of each trade technique. And that can be really handy, because you're like, man, I feel like this particular trade just keeps fucking with me. And you can go in and you can look at, like, the last 17 times you traded that, and it's like, sure enough, this just isn't working out. I am not going to trade this anymore. Or, in order to improve this, it looks like this is something I should have did. I should have allowed for. One of the things I wanted to teach last night, RJ, I kind of forgot to, but also we just didn't have time, was how not to be fooled by certain pivots, because certain pivot points can look like you should raise your stop when really you shouldn't. And that is the case when there has not been much of a significant move, but it breaks the pivot high, and that should raise it to the lowest point between those 2 points, but not if the lowest point, not if the 2 high points that just broke we're only negligibly above the prior last two high points that broke. You shouldn't inch up like that. They should be large steps. That would have been, on the expert side of things. All right, so we're getting our first pullback on Zscaler. You don't do anything about it. Stop is at 178. You allow it to have the volatility of the trade on the day.
Alert.
Now, if the market starts to tank, that could be a problem. Oh, damn, the market is doing pretty well, it looks like, actually. I wasn't paying attention. I would have wanted to get that breakout. I'll plant a seed right here, and we'll see what happens. And Carl says, new stop on ZS? No, still 178. This pullback will create our new stop. And it's looking like when it does, it'll be 182.50. But so far, it's still 178. You need to let it breathe and put these stops in. It will tighten up on its own, and it will squeeze you out and exit you out of the trade automatically out of the system. That's the path of victory. If you want to study it, it's over in the day swinging section of the Market Mastery. We go down to the lessons, and you can see in day swinging, when is the trade over? It's 28 minutes, multiple videos. Here's how to create price targets and raise your stops during day swinging. And there's also rebuys, also known as add-ons or topping off. And then how to use price action and create that path of victory. And there's the path of victory right there. So you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lessons, each with multiple classes edited down in there to learn day swinging. That's the technique I coined, day swinging. And it's based on pivot point trading. What time frame should those screenshots be? It doesn't really matter. Whatever shows you what you want to see, and that would be part of the strategy that you used. Maybe the 2-minute chart. It depends on if it's a day trade or a swing trade, of course. But, if it's a day trade, maybe the 1 minute or 2-minute chart, or maybe the 5-minute, if it was a 5-minute type of trigger. Let's go over to DOCU and see if that's failed out yet. No, that's good. That's good news. Hasn't failed out. 62.40 will be your exit if it does. But it's currently holding at 63.25. And it may curve up and do something on the day. Maybe it won't. That's okay. It doesn't work out every time, the mega dip by trade. But as you can see, we got 1 out of 2 over on Zscaler. Zscaler going through its first pullback period. Ooh, it's starting to get excited again. Get bought up in a big manner here. It looks like potentially that would be a hedge fund purchase. Because we just had a purchase of around 1 million shares at $183. We just had a purchase of about 1 million shares at $183 a share. So somebody just bought that for around $200 million. And it wasn't you and me. No, that's a hedge fund right there. And so that is a beautiful fucking sign. That has hedge fund support, that has institutional support, and that it's being buying up. Adam says, it was me. It was me. All right. Sorry. What is that little indicator? Oh, a whale. Yeah, no, that's far bigger than a whale. That was an institution. That was a hedge fund with other people's money, partnered together into a fund. That was, multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. Just took up $150 million position right there at $183. And they're going to sell that back in a year and a half, so this is, that's what they're doing with their clients. And there it is. We broke new high of the day, and Zscaler is now 184.60, and we get to raise our stop to 182.50, Carl, or whoever was asking. 182.50, new stop on Zscaler. And you can kind of see that over on my programmed stop here. It just got raised up to that level. You can see that on the top right of my lower radar screen. We've got programmed in the path of victory into code. And you can see the stop here, and then it raised up to 178, and then just now went up to 182.50. So it's perfectly ascribing, is that the word? Perfectly, I forget the word, but anyway, it's perfectly illustrating the correct stoppage there. Adam, what a morning, huh? ISEE pulling back to 20.05. Let's see if that's an exit for you guys. I would put your stop on ISEE at or below 20, so like 1980. You could even failed retest neckline breakdown. You could even be at least 50% out now. It may be entering the backside of the trade. It is still above WAP, so there's still some hope here. But, you don't want to be trading on hopium. 184.80, almost to 185 on Zscaler. Carl's like, making money is fun. In a bull market, we get these every couple of days, these runners and dip buys and path of victories. And, in a nice, healthy, under 20 VIX environment, we get to make lots of beautiful trades like this all the time. Over the last year, almost, this bear market, you will have learned so many valuable lessons on how to be defensive. And that's year one. Level one of being a trader is being defensive and managing your risk. Taking a look at NE. Just became profitable as a company. Nah, still not good enough. Over on IC, watch that break of $20 and exit at if it breaks down at 1980, 1990, 1980. There could be a big drop coming. Yeah, Carl. Yeah, that's a really good analogy. Showing up every day is, you get your hand dealt, and 1 out of every 221 hands is aces. You got to show up every day. You got to show up for every deal, though. You got to show up 221 days a year to get them aces. And even when you have aces, you're still only like a 55% to win, even heads up, depending on what they have. But that's just the way the flop can be against a field of 9. I love how you teach as you trade. Awesome. Thanks. You come join my group. Click the link in my bio. Certainly follow me. So I do this every morning. And some days are boring, though. I'll have to admit. Some days didn't have my coffee and there's not much to say and the market isn't really happening. And I'm not in a bad mood. I'm never in a bad mood. But, there just might not be much to talk about and it can be a little bit boring. DocuSign, somebody's asking. I can guarantee you that if they're asking, it probably failed out. And they should know better to exit. No, I was incorrect. No, DocuSign's still holding, Tell me how to join. Go to e3tradinggroup.com. The link is in my bio. Just go exit this live over to my TikTok and there'll be a link there. Go through that process. And then I also have something called Market Mastery, which is 100 plus video lessons. So you can decide if you want to get into that or not. And then we head to the golf course. I like that, Carl. Where do you live, Carl? Not that I'm. Well, let's see what he says. That's another nuance. Camille. Oh, where's Camille? So Camille had to bail because his internet's been so bad. Oh, that sucks. Big D, which I don't know what that means. Might be in Delaware. Does anybody live in Delaware? Big D, Colorado, Texas, Dallas. There you go. uh, no, I didn't even know we were talking about the same state, so I was trying to pick states. There we go. We're almost exiting on DOCU. Watch yourselves. Yeah, definitely. Jumping rope. Yes. You just bought AMD puts? Interesting. Okay. Also, yesterday, Randy, not sure if you made it. I talked, I don't know, about 10 or 20 minutes about the advantages of trading, having a futures account to trade, because for under 2000 for $2,000, as low as $2,000, you can day trade unlimited without the pattern day trading rule. And I talked about some of the other advantages of it, that you can often be trading things that are in long-term trends and in the middle of the night. And I talked about that twice in the last week. But last night I went to it in detail again. I noticed some people left during that talk because I guess they're just not interested in trading futures. But it's exactly the fucking same. If you trade the S&P 500 or the Qs, you're trading futures. You know, futures trades those instruments, and in fact, futures does kind of a better job at it. Funny thing, you used to mess around with futures before you found the group. Yeah, and now that you know so much more about risk management, I think you do just fine in that. But everybody watch out. When and if you start trading futures, it is at 15 times leverage. So if your risk to stop is, you know, if you're going to stop out in 50 points on the S&P 500 or something, you do not want to be like leveraging your entire account to risk that stop. You know, if you have a $5,000 account, you should be taking one contract. That's about the right size. However, with a $3,000 account, you could take two contracts. That would be 4 times too much leverage. That would be the equivalent of risking 4% per trade. Yeah, that's what you do, Randy. 25 cents per contract over at TradeStation or IBKR. I traded in the middle of the night on it. Here, look at this. I said I wasn't going to, but I did. I got worms. No, let's see. I got oh, this one here. Okay. Take a look at this. I got this cheat entry right here. And then I needed to go to bed. This was after class. Class was over like around here. I got this cheat entry right here as it coiled up and tightened up and put in a flat top wedge. And then I put my stop on just below here with a profit target of around right here. I put my stop right here. I woke up and look what happened. Got stopped out. And of course, it went the right way and the trade would have worked out. Lesson to be learned there. Put a little bit more buffer on your stops. Mine had buffer on it, but even a little bit more. When you're trading futures and you're going to sleep overnight, you want to put a stop on your trades. Buenas tardes, hermanito, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias. ¿Y tú? ¿Dónde eres? What is that I traded? The Qs overnight, in the middle of the night. In futures, that's NQ. You can do MNQ, U22, which would be September expiration. It is essentially like options. If you buy one micro QQQ contract, NASDAQ contract in futures, you get 2 shares of the NASDAQ composite. So the NASDAQ composite is, I'm not sure what they have that under here in TradingView. NASDAQ composite is IXIC. And so you could, I don't think that's it. I think it's NDX. There we go. NASDAQ 100 is currently $12,500 per share. $12,500 per share. One contract buys you 2 shares. So how much money are you controlling if you buy one contract of NASDAQ, if it's $12,500 a share right now, and you get 2 shares per contract on the micros? How much? Is anybody listening? $12,500 is currently the NASDAQ composite. $12,500. One contract in futures on the micros will buy you 2 shares. So how much money are you controlling? Correct, $25,000, right? But on the micros, they give you 15-to-1 leverage. So that will only cost you $1,650 to enter that trade, to control $25,000 of index, right? For $1,650 per contract. So just like options, just think of it that way. Just like options, you get 100 shares in an option contract, and you pay much less, and yet you're controlling 100 shares essentially. Well, in futures, it's the same thing, except it is linear. It's a delta of 1. They don't have delta on futures. They do, but they're delta of 1. Well, Carl, last night I talked about it a lot. Were you there, Carl? Weren't you there? And we talked about it last week. And another thing that's nice about futures. Here's another thing that's nice for the Dondrells and the various people in the room. Not actually, we don't want to target necessarily anybody on this, but my point being, if you have a lot of money in your account, futures are one way to solve liquidity, because sometimes you can't trade when you have a lot of money, because you can't get enough shares of something, because you would cause too much of a move. So, millionaires and billionaires, trade futures because the contracts control so much money and the liquidity is there. So for instance, you wouldn't trade the micros if you had a larger account. You would trade the micros, which are 1/10 the size. You would trade the normal size, $250,000 per contract of control, for $16,500 of purchasing power per contract, right? And then, and the nice thing is they're quite liquid. That can be a way to step out of the market and start trading something bigger. For instance, the dollar lately has been on a beautiful run for the last year and a half. Yeah, and the nice thing, somebody was mentioning about $25,000. Yeah, that's how much it would be. The nice thing about futures accounts is no pattern day trading problem. Nothing. So if you have a smaller size to trade with, probably something that I would recommend when you're finally ready to trade is to do it with futures on indexes, on the Qs. Like, that's where you would learn, and you should start with paper trading on that. Anyway, the dollar trending for a year and a half now. Most things in futures are economic assets. But it can be, be as simple as corn, soy, rice, orange juice, coffee, cocoa, cotton, but it could also be copper, gold, oil, the 10-year, the 2-year, the 30-year rates, the VIX, and the Qs, and SPY, and the Dow, and quite a few instruments. You're definitely not very limited. But the nice thing is, a lot of those are dependent on economics, economic factors, the economy, macroeconomics. And because of that, those things tend to get into states for long periods of time, like 3 months at minimum to 2 years or more. And that's what we like to deal with. We like to trade trending things. Now, if you go to something that might be going sideways, it might be in a sideways state, so you know not to trade that very much, or you take the ping-ponging of it. We can talk about that more and more, yeah. It's not all about the fact that it's, yeah, and currencies, by the way. You can also trade currencies, the yen, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, lots of different currencies as well. You don't have to have a Forex account necessarily to trade currencies, because you can find them in futures as well. All right, let's go over to Zscaler and see what's up with that. Do we get stopped out yet? We might be getting close. Let's see here. The stop on Zscaler was 182.50, and yeah, we did get stopped out. So hopefully you guys exited that trade. That trade is over on Zscaler. You got what you got. You don't throw a fit. And if you don't mind, if you could take a screenshot or just type up how you did and post that and post your gains, that'd be great. A lot of you probably took that trade this morning. Zscaler. Yeah, the trend, I mean, I'm always looking for trend. Like back when Crocs was on a monster trend back here, I mean, we were all over it. Look at that. It was just, God, what a move it made from a low of $8 or $9 all the way up to peaking at $184 over the last 2 years, over a 2-year period. And then it's over. That's one of the things, beginners won't realize about stocks is that once it's over, it's over. I mean, I still get people coming back to me going like, "What about Peloton? How about Baba?" It's like, wow. I mean, you have no idea how much of a dinosaur you sound like when you say that. Like, we're over things not only the next day, but sometimes in a couple minutes. We like ancient history for us is 3 minutes. People still dollar cost averaging on Baba. Oh, and the problem with those people is they won't know when to sell, even if it goes up half. Even if it retraces half, they won't even know to take profits. They'll just be in it forever, even if it goes bankrupt someday. And by the way, China is in economic distress right now. And the United States is becoming very strong economically on the world stage in comparison to all the different economies out there, as it should. So long as we don't get too much social corrosion, socialist corrosion on how this country is run, then we will remain the leader worldwide. Yes, that is correct, RJ. Nothing is over. Nothing. You don't just turn it off. Okay, we got to do that one too. I don't know if this is the one, but I got to answer a quiz. Which of these brands have I heard of? Well, all of them, since I'm in finance.
It's over, Johnny. It's over. Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off. It wasn't my war.
By the way, that movie is actually fucking fantastic. It's such a great movie. You could see why it kicked off a whole bunch of sequels, but the original is really a great movie. it's, you know, about a war veteran
Alert.
and what they go through. And the nice little action movie story around it. But the heart of that movie, it actually has heart. Very, very good movie. You know, similar to like Rocky, which was a great movie. And Rocky 2 was pretty good, but, you know, became an action sequel thing. But the original, very, very good movie. If you haven't seen Rambo, which really was called First Blood, you should definitely see it. Very, very good. So taking a look at Zscaler. Yeah, it's the backside of the trade now. It's topped out. It could re-trigger, but as a day trade, I think that's it. Just take your money. The first trade is always the best trade. Right, RJ? How often, you guys with a lot of experience now in here, how often is that a truism? How often is the first trade always the best trade? I have a number in my mind. I just want to see what you guys with experience would say, because no rule is hard and fast. But I want to say that one is a pretty goddamn high one. Yeah, Dondrell says 98% of the time. I think RJ might say, I don't know, 88% of the time. I think it's probably about 90%. Very, very high. Over 90%, says RJ. So it just means it's not even worth it to try, because 9 out of 10 times it's not going to happen. And yet we know, you know, when it could be worth it. It's when the first trade was like stratospheric. It was a phenom. It was unbelievable. And now you're just watching it, you know, like, shit, I don't want to miss some kind of a second move on this. You know, we've seen that enough times. Outside of that, it's not worth it, guys. Stop trading after the first move it has gone to full completion. At that point, be done for the day. So on that note, we're done for the day. DOCU failed out, and Zscaler went to completion, and you can see that on my screen, by the way. It perfectly, the coded indicator perfectly took us to the stop there, and the path of victory played out perfectly. That turned out to be 178-ish to 183-ish, somewhere around there. And then, yes, ISEE went all the way up to 21, and looking good. Save a bullet for tomorrow. That's right. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. We will move into the group now, and this day's not over. It's not over. And we will trade whatever we can if there is anything worthwhile. But I'm telling you, from what it looks like, that's the best of it right there. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend with you and yours, and I'll catch you on Monday morning, if not in the group. See you soon. All right. Take care.